A 66-year-old man has been refused a blood transfusion because he was a bigot. Can you guess which country this was in? Of course, it was in the progressive utopia of Scotland. A real country run by a real government, by real people that care about the people needing blood. Last time I checked, there was a blood crisis, at least in my country. I know maybe in Scotland there's a lot of donors, but it can happen to anyone. You can get in a car crash, and then you need a blood transfusion, and the doctor will say, "We are sorry, but the men refuse to answer whether they are pregnant or not." Now, this is the difference between science as a method and the science as an institution. Now, everyone believes in science as the method. We are using the internet to communicate. We're using this magic that makes you feel that I'm in your room. It's used by science as the method. But then you have the science as an institution, which is now becoming corrupt, bureaucratic, and ridiculous. What do I mean by this? Well, it's turning doctors, allegedly intelligent people, into robots. Using protocols. Like, what is the protocol? Well, in a very fascistic sense, from top down, it is dictated that you need to behave in this manner when encountering this problem. So the doctor is like, "Beep, bap, boop, do you want to donate blood? Yes. Okay, you need to answer the question. Are you pregnant? You refuse to answer the question. As such, I cannot allow you to donate blood." And the person can be like, "But I'm a man! I'm a man! I don't get pregnant!" Irrelevant. The protocol does not stipulate this situation. As such, I cannot allow you to donate blood because if I do, I will get fired. My job is more important. And that's pretty much how hospitals operate. I can tell you because I have been into one. It robs the doctor of any sort of independent thought. And I mean, to a degree, this can be good. The doctor usually hides behind the protocol. Like, well, I have followed the steps. The patient died, but I have followed the protocol. And then it's okay. Or you can choose not to follow the protocol and then get sued. 6 years of medicine. And then you get a malpractice lawsuit. And you lose your job. What do you do then? You're only trained how to be a doctor. You don't know how to do anything else. 6 years of your life. Now, regarding this kartoffel, men can get pregnant. How? How can I get pregnant? How? Tell me. Tell me the wisdom. I want to go to the academia, to the gender studies, to the wise activists, to the smart politicians and ask them, how can I get pregnant? What must I do? How can I accomplish this feat? How can I do this task? But in reality, obviously, it's just a language manipulation. It's a little bit of a word game that only the most extreme radicals of our democracy are promoting. But these extreme radicals, they have large megaphones. Even when it comes to the transgender movement, like I do have trans friends. Actually, I have something above trans friends. I have trans people that donate to my Subscribestar. I don't think I'm that transphobic if I get trans money. I'm literally funded by trans people. This program has been brought to you by the trans community, and it's in the name. It's transitioning. It implies that there is two genders. You transition from one to the other. But you have the other people, which are the gender abolition movement. And the gender abolition is something that happened throughout human history. It started with the French Revolution, where you weren't supposed to call people Mr. or Mrs. anymore. You were supposed to call them citizens in order to promote equality. Then it moved on to the USSR, where you weren't supposed to call people Mr. or Mrs. You're supposed to call them Tovarish. And none of these things work, because society does this distinction. We are a dimorphic species. There are certain things that women need, and there are certain things that men need. Like, for example, when you send someone to jail. Right? Like, if I commit a crime, and I have the opportunity to identify as a woman so I can be placed in a woman's prison, why the fuck do you think I wouldn't do that? I mean, obviously, I don't want to go with the icky men, right? I want to go with the ushkushi ladies. So you have, like, these things where it's important. Donating blood, another example. If you use taxpayer money to have certain cervical exams for women, like, you wouldn't want to waste those on men, those tests on men. I'm just saying. But what is my problem with this? My problem with this is that it is a Mott and Bailey argument, right? So, when you want to push something on society, and it just doesn't get in there. There's a lot of resistance. Like, your ideology just doesn't fit with the reality. Well, you create the Bott and Bailey argument. You have an argument for people that disagree with you, and you have a different definition for the people that you want to push it upon. Take it. So the argument that's supposed to be inflicted upon society is that there is no gender, or there are so many genders that it doesn't matter. It's more like a fashion. You know, you can put whatever clothes you want. Like, 1 second you can be one gender, the other second you can be another. There is no difference between men and women. There shouldn't be a difference between men and women. And we shouldn't treat men and women separately. Like, again, whatever people identify as. Like, if you have a company which has a gender pay gap, just get the men to identify as women, gender pay gap fixed, right? Like, that's the ideology that needs to be pushed upon the masses. But when challenged by it, if I were to go to the same person, the exact same human being, and I go like, hold on a little bit, right? That's not okay. Well, then they have the other argument for me. Like, this argument is just for people like me. It's like, no, you see, there is a difference between gender and biology. Gender is the societal expectations one have towards a person. It's the societal norms that you have towards a person, the way of behavior. Biology is biology. I mean, you can't blah, 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 right? So that's the argument they have for people like me that oppose this concept, because I don't think it's okay to put a woman into a man's prison, for example. And then they have the argument for you, who doesn't care. Well, like, you're not into the conversation. And the argument for you is that, well, if a man identifies as a woman, then put them into women's prison. Now, again, like, if you were to make a poll, if you actually went to ask the public at large, I guarantee to you, I am willing to sell my house and put all the money that I have on this wager, that the overwhelming amount of people, like, not even half, like, overwhelming, like 90%, 95 probably, will say that it's absolutely not okay to put a woman into a man's prison or vice versa. I mean, there should still be some limits. But it doesn't matter what you think, because, you know, what matters is the people that actually shape society. The rich, the corporations, the politicians. You know, these are the individuals that actually matter. Now, the thing is, as I mentioned before, just like the French Revolution, just like the Soviet Union, you know, they might try to push this into society, but it doesn't work. It works for a little while, until you have ridiculous things like this that just keep popping up more and more, until you have people like J.K. Rowling getting persecuted and other famous people that are speaking out, and when it starts affecting you and your family, like, oh my god, mom went into a car crash, now there's no blood to donate. Oh, there is this guy that donates, but he doesn't want to say if he is what is this nonsense? Right? When this happens at a larger scale, eventually there is a pushback. So don't expect this to last for more than 5 years. I mean, we are at the peak of it. We are plateauing. If you guys remember, the same thing happened with feminism when all the articles were talking about the cisgender, heteronormative, patriarchal, buzzword. People aren't talking about it anymore because it's gone, right? Like, it's over. Now it's a new thing. I'm pretty sure when this is over, it's just going to be a new thing. Because that's the way the cookie bounces. Let me know what you guys think, though, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.